I'd like to welcome on stage Shaxe Khumalo, our guest speaker for tonight, DJ, personality, and all-round hustler. Welcome, Shaxe.
Thank you.
Absolutely ecstatic to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
And everyone is excited to hear the story behind Shaxe Khumalo.
Okay.
So, can you share with us a bit of background where you're from?
Good afternoon, good evening. I was told that I was born in a farm in Botterville. So I'm saying this because we moved while I was very young. So I don't have memory of, being there. And I grew up in Botshabelo, which is about 35 km out of Bloemfontein. That's where I did my entire schooling, primary and high school. And after that, I moved to Bloem, basically. Yeah.
Being from a small town, could you share some experiences, life experiences perhaps, coming from a small town, integrating into a big city? I myself am from a small town, and coming to Bloemfontein was like, oh, big city lights. And yes.
Well, Botshabelo was said to be, I think, the second largest township in South Africa after Khayelitsha or Soweto at some stage. So it was quite a big township, but there weren't a lot of things happening there. As a matter of fact, I was invited to go to the opening of a pizza shop last year. So they only started eating pizza there last year. So growing up there was interesting, man. Like it's all my childhood memories are there. But obviously, coming to Bloem with the parents occasionally, you would like come around and see things here that are not there. And you would, daydream about things and wish to one day come stay here permanently or come here often. But I think it played a big role in me being hungry for a lot of things. And I don't think I would want to have it any other way if I could go back. So I'm grateful to have actually been like having spent all my childhood there, because that got me to really be hungry for a lot of things that I used to see on TV or I wished I could actually achieve or do. So yeah.
And so you moved to Bloemfontein.
Yes.
What did you do when you got here?
Okay. I was crazy. After my matric, basically, I think I was smart in school, right? I think. And essentially, I did not have proper guidance in terms of what to follow career-wise or what to study in school. I know I loved maths when I was in high school, and I did okay in maths. Actually, I passed my maths quite well. So I tried a couple of things. So I'll share with you what I almost became. So I almost became a pilot because I saw some advert in the newspaper to study that, and it didn't, go well. I was accepted to go study radiography at CUT, and I remember just not going the Monday I was supposed to go because I was thinking about X-rays and injured people. So I was like, nah, it's not for me. And then I also tried chemical engineering, and it was complicated. There was like a lot of boring things there, so I left that alone. Eventually, I went to UFS and I enrolled for BSc Statistics. I was enjoying my stats, but I had to do plants as well, geography, genetics, some other boring things that were confusing me because I didn't understand why I had to do those things because I wanted to just do the numbers. And then while at the varsity in my second year, I went for auditions at the then Radio Shimla. It was very, very chaotic because I just went there and this dude interviewed me and he gave me the job and I had to start in a couple of hours time without any training. But that was the changing, moment for me in my life, because from then onwards, I knew what I was meant to do, which was radio.
Did you drop out straight
Yep,
after?
I did. I dropped out.
Wow. So you have been exposed to various potential professions, and your fire was sparked the minute you went into radio.
Yep.
And how long were you in the radio industry? Did Golf CFM open doors? Was it more of a hard work thing?
Well, it wasn't work because it was voluntary. So I did Golf CFM for a couple of years. I did pretty much almost all the slots: breakfast, afternoon, early evening, Sunday, Saturday. And that's when I really learned a lot about radio because most of what I do or what radio is about, it's not really what you can go to school for. It's just something that you either have or you don't have. After Golf CFM, I joined the newly opened Motero FM, where I did breakfast show for 2 years there. And while I was there, because I got a little bit more popular, and the then manager at OFM, Tim's uncle, sent me text that we need to talk. I must come see him. And I was just busy having fun and didn't have time to go see him, you know. And the funny thing is that between Golf CFM and Motero FM, where I spent 10 years, I wasn't getting paid, you know. I worked for free. But I was so happy because I was following my passion and my dream. And I got to survive. I wasn't living off my parents. I was on my own. But I managed to sort of create a little bit of a brand out of my name. And from that, I was able to get bookings to either go MC or DJ or do this and that would actually give me money. And while doing that as well, I also worked for Musica. I thought, you know, it's a music store. I'm sure I'd have fun there. Until one weekend when Vodacom had given me an offer to go play in Velcom. And what they were paying me was more than what I was getting there for the whole month. So they wouldn't give me the weekend off. So I resigned. Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning.
You quit very quickly, hey?
Yeah, well, it wasn't quitting. And from that moment as well, that's when I decided that I'll never really work for someone, or never would have interest in working for someone, because, you know, you get to be limited so much, especially if you want to pursue something that you love. So eventually in 2011, I got a call up from OFM to go work for OFM. At the time, they were trying to appeal to the urban market as well. So when I went there, it was different from what I had done in the past 10 years, which was not professional. And I'm still there now at OFM, and I've learned so much. And I remember the craziest moment for me was when I got my first paycheck. I was so shocked to get paid for something that I love, because I thought it was crazy, you know. But radio has been the integral part of everything that has actually made me to be who or what I am today.
Wow. 10 years working for free. So you found your passion. What, and aside from Musica, because I think perhaps in you there was more than just radio, because you've gone into business. Yeah. You own your own events management company. You've done the Mangaung Beach Party, which we'd love to hear more about. What was that defining moment where you decided to become an entrepreneur?
Well, as the name and the brand was growing, I'd get to interact with different business entities. I do work for SAB, for Vodacom, and they would ask for an invoice or ask you to, you know, write them something with a letterhead. So that's when I got to learn the importance of having a business structure around what I was doing. So I registered my own events company called Shaxe Khumalo Events and Promotions. And my first big gig that I did under that banner was the Mangaung Beach Party in 2009. And how that happened was crazy as well, that I wrote on Facebook that I've got this idea to do a beach party. Now in the space of events, you can actually do anything you want. You can theme anything and do it anywhere. We can have a snow party in here. we can have whatever we want to have in this room as well as possible. So when I did the first beach party, I didn't even have money. I remember I went to Coca-Cola. There was a marketing manager there, and then I asked him to sponsor me with a soundtrack, which they agreed to. At the time, I was friends with Kulichana and JR, who are big rappers now. So I asked them to come to Bloem for my gig. I didn't have a VIP area. I didn't even have security. And they agreed to come to Bloem. And I paid them when they arrived at the gate, actually, from the money I took from the people that came to my event. And I think we got about 2,000 people who came that day to support. And I just never looked back. You know, I was like, you know what, this is possible. I think I can do other things as well. So I just never looked back, and we did about 7 of those Mangaung beach parties.
And today you host a variety of, you know, the Shaxe brand is affiliated with Fuss, Picnic in the North, which happens several times throughout the year. So you've also now got a sneakers and caps business.
Yes.
Can we go through you, radio personality, events, a business, a shop business? How do you do it? How do you manage your time? How did you discover, or not discover, how did you learn to run so many entities at once?
I think one of the nice things about being on your own or working for yourself is that you can manage your time however way you want to, because no one is forcing you to commit certain hours to them in a day, which was something that I've always found frustrating with a formal job setting. So all the things that I do, essentially, I think I love. But I also believe that some things you can do because there's a need for them to be done. I love sneakers. I have, like, you know, I think I've got only one pair of shoes. I've got like a lot of sneakers. And cleaning them has always been a problem. So I was asking my friends around, you know, would you be able to actually, would you pay someone to wash your sneakers for you? And they said yes. And I think that got me to actually want to really consider this whole thing of starting a business with the whole cleaning of sneakers. And I actually got the best advice when I came to Startup Grind a while back, before my business kicked off, of the sneakers, because I was struggling with you know, getting space where I can actually do it and how to start as well. And one of the speakers, Gerald, was Gerald, yes, who was?
Gareth.
Yeah, Gerald, yes. We got to interact afterwards, and he advised me to avoid paying rent, all right? So I'm friends with the owner of Sneakers Inc. at Mimosa Mall, Michael. So I went to speak to him about his shop hosting my business, because he's selling sneakers, so people that actually go into his shop are basically in need of my services as well. So currently we are operating from his store, where people drop them off there, and I get to pick them up and take them to where they get cleaned, and they pick them up there as well. And it's been 3 months now, and it's actually, you know, picking up, it's getting there. As we speak, actually, we are setting up our second store in Johannesburg, Midrand, at Shanty Town. We should be opening in the next week or so. And really, it's just crazy. Sometimes you have an idea in your head, and once you see it unfold, it's really unbelievable. But also, like what you've asked me about, doing so many things, because it's things that I love, that I'm not forced into. I don't even really see a hustle to get to make time for them. So I'm having fun, you know, it's really fun to me, all of the things that I'm doing.
As an entrepreneur and a business owner, do you do a lot of reading? How did you learn the ropes of how to get things done?
I have always had older friends than me, and I think you learn so much from older people. I've always been inquisitive as well. I would ask a lot of questions from people who know more. I'm of the opinion that if you surround yourself with people who know better than you, you're gonna learn as well. So um, I know a lot of people who do different things, and I will never want to be a photographer, but I'd have a friend who's good at it, and I'd know how they add value to me. So for me, it's important to network and to know people who know a lot of things. That's how you learn. The reading part also is important because other things we pick up from reading, but also experience has really taught me a lot. I didn't study marketing, but I've also learned that some of the stuff in textbooks about marketing are not really, working when it comes to the streets, for example. So you also learn a lot of things from the streets as you get to practically implement your plan when you have an event, how you market and do all those things, for example. So there's a lot of information, sources really that are available for us, and I'm the person who's got their ear on the ground on a lot of things, and I try to learn as much as I can, even if something doesn't work for me. I feel that's a good learning experience. So with business, I cannot say to you that there's one solid method that I think would work for everybody. I don't believe in that. I believe that once you are practicing what you had on paper or in mind in the past, you get to really see if it's gonna work or not. And from that, every day is a new learning experience. It's like being on radio. On radio they say you are as good as your last link, basically. So every day is a new experience being on radio as well. You can't really say that there's a formula for you to be the best presenter on radio, for example. So it's really a process every day, and you just have to do something if you want to learn more or know more about it.
So, after 10 years of working for free, after a lot of trial and error, it couldn't have been easy. Can you tell us about your worst moments? Was it all bad leading up to this point? And what support structures did you create for yourself, or did you already have, that got you through the toughest of times?
I wouldn't say I've been through, very, very tough times. I don't come from a background where I've got rich parents, but I was lucky to survive. I just remember dropping out of school. For me, I was able to stay in a flat with a friend, and I was making enough per month to pay my half of the rent and still have food. I didn't have a car, but it was okay. I used to walk from town to the varsity to go to my radio show, or use a taxi, when I had money, until I got to buy my first car, which I loved very much. It was a Beetle, by the way. Very sexy car. So I wouldn't say there was a time when I felt I was down and out. I never had that moment, but I feel I was blessed because radio got to open other doors for me. While I was doing it for free, I was also able to get paid on the side, because my name was out there, and that helped me to also grow. For example, as a DJ, I'd have people preferring to book me over other people, and also I was the first hip hop DJ actually to come out of the Free State, as far as I know, because everyone was playing house music when I started. So when you start and you begin to play, for a year I was asking guys to give me a platform to play for free so I can show them what I can do, until a point where they would now start recognizing what I did, and they would call me up and pay me for that, So I think I was lucky that I never really had the harshest times throughout, my career. But obviously challenges are there, and if I did not work hard, I would not have had the little that I had to even just survive from month to month, to be able to pay my rent or to have clothes or food. But yeah.
Well, that's actually very interesting. And perhaps I'd like to touch on it's a mindset, because many people would have said, you know, that stage of my life was very difficult, and you don't see it as you just went day to day. Like, you didn't feel that it was a struggle?
I think I didn't have much from the beginning. So I was not worried about the BMW that I could not have at the time. So if I could not go to McDonald's, it didn't matter to me because I wasn't used to it. There was none in Botavelo anyway, so, you know. So I think depending on what you were used to previously, that also guides you on how to actually work your path on growing your career as well, and growing yourself and getting the achievements that you've set yourself to get as well. So I wouldn't say there was too much of a pressure, because I felt my life was okay. Even if when I didn't have a car, it was like, okay, it's normal, it's okay. I'll get there one day.
Nice. So now being in business, can you impart some insight into being in the industry that you're in? Everybody's industry is difficult, but it's known that entertainment is probably tougher than other industries. Have you got any insight, any stories, any how-tos, any tips that you can impart with those aspiring to go into business in entertainment?
In Bloemfontein, it's particularly frustrating when you are into the space of events, because there's so many advantages. For example, in Joburg and Cape Town, from just, you know, events in those towns, for example, are part of everyday lifestyle for people there. Going out to have drinks or going to the movies or going to an event, they don't get to the door and ask you, why am I paying tonight? You know, because people know the value of that this place has to make money. It's a business structure as well. So in Bloem, we struggle with a lot of things, from, you know, people not wanting to pay at events, for example. Sponsorships are limited in Bloemfontein. I have gotten to learn, like, you know, the relationship that I have with people like SAB and Vodacom, for example. You have to really prove yourself for them to trust you. I think I've worked with SAB for the past 10 years, for example, and they don't question my brand. When I have ideas, I don't really have to give them long presentations or proposals. I just go discuss with them, and if they like it, we work. Equally, when they have things that they feel our collaboration would be beneficial, they can contact me for that. So on the how part, for example, with sponsorships, with corporations here, it's always about them. So before I approach anyone about wanting them to sponsor me, I think about how are they going to benefit from from my event, for example. So I go to them with already, it could be something new that they did not see, for example. I go to them with something that would entice them and say that I'd like you to come on board, but this is how you're going to benefit. And obviously, once they see that is, you know, beneficial for them, then they consider working with you. And generally speaking, as well, relationships are very important. You know, respecting people that you work with, carrying yourself in a respectful manner as well, and treating yourself professionally in things that you do. Because I've seen a lot of guys in my industry taking what they do for granted, going to gigs drunk, being late. I've never been late for any of my gigs. I've never missed any of my gigs before. I'm always on time and I deliver. So all those factors actually come into play. But also there's a plus by being in Bloem, that there isn't like so many promoters as in people doing events. So it helps to a certain, level, because it means we can experiment with so many things. Just last week we had, about 2 weeks ago, we had like a silent party at Topaz, and we're trying to grow the concept of a silent party in Bloem, which is something big in Cape Town already. So with new concepts, you start doing them, and then people get used to the idea of what you're doing, and eventually they do support you, you know. And also, when I do my things and my events, I have stayed away from selling other people from Joburg, for example, artists or whatever. When I do Picnic in the North, I just say hosted by Shaxe on the poster. If you know me, you will come because you know I deliver quality events and because you respect me, and I will never disappoint you. I feel if you book someone for 20,000 to come to Bloem to perform at a function, and they just come play for an hour and then they leave, it's not really working anymore, especially if you don't have a sponsor paying them. So I try to sell people experiences more than just an event. I don't make my events about who's gonna play there. I make them about come have an experience and want to come back next time when I do something again. Yeah, so that's...
Thank you. And what's the most difficult thing that you faced? What industry struggles or personal struggles or business struggles do you face that you're still overcoming, or have been the most difficult things that you've had to face?
I think I'll repeat what I said earlier as well about the market in Bloem being difficult in terms of us getting support as people doing events. And to some extent, we have to do twice as hard to prove ourselves that we can actually, you know, make things happen. Like, I don't even touch government because there is no respect from them coming to people like myself who are on their own. And this you can check by what happens during Makufe, where the budget 90% goes to Joburg because they get people from outside to come do sound, marketing, everything. The money just goes out of the city, and we are the ones servicing the city throughout the whole year, but they don't even acknowledge what we do, you know. So it's frustrating. Then you go to Durban, they acknowledge what the artists are doing. They work with artists in terms of promoting the province. They use them to do pretty much everything that comes to showbiz in the city, and they always prioritize them. So here is the opposite, that I only get to work with private companies. Well, I'm yet to find the secret to get into government, you know, so if someone has, please let me know. So for me, that's the biggest challenge. And you know, you meet people asking you, why are you still in Bloem? Why don't you go to Joburg, for example? And my take is that if no one is doing anything now, no one is gonna show the next generation that it's possible, that there's no need to actually leave the city. We need to start making things happen now, because I believe I'm also opening the path for the next Shaxe to say that, you know what, in Bloem, from Bloem you can do a lot of things. And I've had an amazing journey because I've gotten to do things that I never thought I would. 2010, I was called out by FIFA to actually be the announcer at the games at the stadium, all of the games that were played there, which was amazing. And 2013, I got to work with Sovereign Mini to be the brand ambassador for a year, things that never really happened before. And it's always amazing when you hear feedback from people who never thought it could actually happen, you know. So the challenge here has mainly been that we need to sort of, you know, have a change of attitude coming from the top to the bottom about how, you know, they treat people in my industry, give them a little bit more of respect. I'm not really the one to want things because it's a favor. I want you to respect me, to approach me, to say that I'm going to add value to what you're doing. So let's collaborate.
Brilliant. That seems to be a common answer in all local entrepreneurs when you say why Bloem, and we have got so much potential here. So to wrap up before we open to the audience, have you got that one piece of advice that you'd want the next Shaxe to walk away with?
The advice really is that if you believe in something, you should do it, irrespective of what even your best friend is saying to you that it's impossible. I've never been the one who consulted with friends before doing things. I'd just do what I felt was right, and I'd follow my, my instincts. And if it feels right to me, and if I believe it's possible, I just forge ahead and do it and make it happen. So if you want to do something, I think just do it. It's possible.
Brilliant, thank you. Have we got any questions from the audience?
We're lucky that we don't live in the time when there was no social media, because before our time, people on radio were relying solely on newspapers, for example. So one, social media is very important, but also I think you listen to someone on radio because you like their character, for example. I'm not the one with a sexy voice on radio, but I have to use other means to get you attracted to me and listen to me. There's guys who have big voices, for example. He can say nothing, but you will listen to him because you love his voice and just the music. So that's how radio is as well. So I need to be able to listen to you, and you need to engage me that I'd want to come back tomorrow. So there's also a couple of radio etiquettes that some people do not follow, and they end up, it's small things. When I was on campus radio, for example, it was okay to speak for 2 minutes when you do a link over nothing really. And I get to OFM, they teach you to be, to be wise with your words, to not say a lot, say a lot without saying much. Like, for example, we are advised to keep a link at 30 seconds. That's the golden rule at OFM, unless if you're doing an interview or something. And then you find on the community level and campus level radio stations, you still find guys speaking for so long, they could make a joke until the joke is dry and they still want to laugh. And you're like, dude, play the music, So one of the best things I've learned is if you've got nothing to say, just play the music, because some people listen to you for the good music. They don't want to hear a lot from you. So you're on the right path with social media, definitely, but eventually the content that you offer to the listener is what will make them come back tomorrow. So you need to be aware of your competition and to make sure you are better than them, and give me a good offering that I can actually listen to you every day and not the other guy. There's something coming to Bloem that I can't say much on now, which will hopefully affect me, because I'm under someone's contract, so I cannot say much about it. And it's something I'm looking forward to as well, which you guys will know before the end of the year. It's quite big, actually, that I'm excited about. So yeah, basically that's that I'm looking forward to. Essentially, Tabo.
What can you disclose that's
No,
next?
I cannot. Well, a few street names and after me would be cool. I'm kidding, man. Well, I'm still far from making the millions, so that's why I'm still working hard. But the legacy for me would be that I want to be the guy that would have made it possible for someone to say it's possible, irrespective of where you come from or where you are. I want to be remembered for having inspired someone to want to do better, having inspired someone to want to be like me and even better than me, and to just generally, being remembered as someone who brought hope to other people as well, because with what we do, we never know how we touch others. So definitely, I'd like to have some sort of a legacy behind when I'm gone, not be like some random guy. So I don't think I'm done yet. So there's still like a lot of things to do. There's a lot of guys who inbox me or talk to me to help them as well, be it musicians or whatever, to manage them. And I'm like, dude, you know, I'm still managing my own things. So I'm not at a position where I can help you like that, for example. But definitely, I hope that even other things that I'm going to be embarking on in the future, which I believe there's still a lot to do, will actually leave a good legacy behind my name. I have parents who are not educated, right? They just can write, and they can read and write, that's it. And I think I've been lucky that they've trusted me to make my own decisions. Like I remember when I first started to DJ, they let me go to a club to DJ where I was getting paid 400 bucks a month, and they were okay with it, you know. Yeah, Paul. So I think they allowed me to be myself, and for me, by virtue of letting someone be themselves, it's some sort of support that you trust their decisions. So they never really were hard on me in terms of what I decided to do with my life. Not that they didn't care, they did care, so they could see that I was okay. And how they brought me up as well played a big role, because I've always had discipline, because you know, I would know what's, you know, the difference between wrong and right, even when they are not there. So I think the education they imparted to me as a child helped me to become the man that I am today in a big way. So I think with what they taught me and them just signaling that it's okay to do what you want to do was, you know, a big support for me. It's about, you know, us educating the people to know us better. I cannot do what Paul does. Paul, by the way, is a good DJ, a remixer as well. He's had his songs on 5FM played as well. But you see, for me, that is important. I respect you for that, and I would pay for you at your gig. But now, when I have to have someone respect me, or someone refuses to respect me because I'm from Bloem, that is a problem. I can tell you now, if I were to move now to Metro FM, I'd probably get more bookings in Bloem. Just because I'm now on Metro FM and I moved to Joburg, they think I'm better and come do the same job. So I've seen DJs from Joburg come to Bloem doing a crack job basically, and they get paid more because people respect the name or because the guy was on TV. So it starts with local brands and the people respecting us, that Paul does what he does and he can do what. I've been to a couple of your events as well, and they're quite amazing. So it's about just us really getting the respect that, and people, you know, sort of respecting and trusting us to believe in what we do. It's different with sponsors, yes. At the same time, why should it be a problem for them to invest in Paul and grow him to become a bigger brand as well? So if we're going to have, you know, like I've been to Lesotho, I've seen how they use, for example, local people on billboards for adverts there or whatever. In 2010, I was asked to be a part of the marketing campaign for the World Cup where they used our faces. I never got a cent because they said to us, do us a favor, we'll come back to you one day and do something for you. Until today, Dololo, there's nothing, you know what I mean? Which is crazy, but they can call someone from out of town and want to make them shine here in our own hometown. So I think it's on us to educate people that Paul is worth your 50 bucks at the door to go see him do what he does best, because no one does what you do, and you do it very well as well.
Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. There are many faces that we see recurring. We're starting to build a bigger community and a bigger family. So thank you all so much, and have a wonderful evening. Good night.